You've been told I'm wasting time. But what if time itself bends in the quiet? What if boredom is where linear time collapses and non-linear creation begins? This isn't about waiting for something to happen. It's about allowing what's already forming beneath awareness to crystallize. Every quantum leap begins in invisibility. Energy organizes before it expresses. The universe builds coherence before it manifests clarity. So when your world feels paused, when you're caught in that eerie calm between what was and what's next, understand. This is not an absence. It's incubation. The stillness you resist is the very field that's rewriting your frequency. Your nervous system calls it boredom. Your higher self calls it recalibration. What if instead of filling the silence, you breathed into it? What if instead of distracting yourself, you listened to the nothingness long enough to notice that it's not empty? It's alive, humming with unborn timelines, realities waiting for your permission to exist. That pause you fear isn't stagnation. It's synchronization. The universe is aligning your field with what you've already chosen in thought, but haven't yet embodied in vibration. Boredom is the final veil before expansion, the moment consciousness resets to prepare for coherence. The seed doesn't panic in darkness. It trusts the unseen process. Neither should you. Because the quieter you become, the more your reality begins to rearrange itself around that frequency. In quantum terms, this is the gap where observation shifts from effort to awareness, from trying to create to allowing creation. The uncertainty principle wasn't a limitation. It was a hint. Reality doesn't emerge from what moves, but from what holds still long enough to collapse possibility into form. So what if you stopped running from boredom and started treating it as the signal that the universe is reprogramming you for your next evolution surface clears, and reality can finally reflect an undistorted image back to you? This is why clarity arrives only after the noise fades. You're not falling behind. You're syncing up. The human mind measures growth by motion, but consciousness measures it by resonance. Stillness isn't a pause in progress. It's the calibration that makes progress possible. When you consciously enter boredom, you're stepping into a frequency where the universe can finally hear you without interference. Most people never reach this state because they fear it. The silence exposes them. All the unresolved emotions, the unmet desires, the truths waiting to surface. But that exposure is the initiation. The moment you stop trying to escape boredom, the field begins to reorganize around your truest signal. You stop broadcasting confusion and start transmitting coherence. Neville's truth, that creation is finished, begins to make sense not as philosophy but as physics. Your future already exists. Stillness tunes you into its wavelength. Imagine it like radio frequencies. Your next timeline is already on air, but your static keeps you from hearing it. Boredom is the tuning dial. It strips away interference until all that remains is signal. In meditation, that floating sensation, where you're neither fully in body nor thought, is the point of contact. The brain's default mode network starts weaving new narratives, rewriting patterns that were too noisy to heal before. It's in that space that identity dissolves just enough for the new one to emerge, and energetically the same happens in your field. The particles of your reality, your circumstances, opportunities, relationships, begin to rearrange themselves to match your stabilized vibration. It's not instant, but it's precise. The longer you can remain in that quiet calibration, the more seamless the shift becomes. You begin to see why the ancients valued silence as sacred technology. The universe doesn't need your effort. It needs your coherence. And coherence is born in boredom, the divine equilibrium between what was and what's becoming. So next time you find yourself restless, remember, you are not behind. You are standing in the quantum pause before everything aligns, becomes. Every second you resist the urge to escape the silence, your energy refines. The static that once blurred your signal begins to harmonize into coherence. This is how quantum alignment truly works. Not through intensity, but through surrender. The universe is not ignoring you. It's synchronizing with you. But it can only do so when your frequency is stable enough to be read. Stillness isn't passive. It's participatory. It's the act of aligning your vibration so precisely that the quantum field has no choice but to organize around it. Think of it this way. Action is what creates momentum in the physical plane, but stillness is what creates magnetic pull in the energetic one. In stillness, your intention becomes gravitational. It draws matching probabilities toward you without chasing, without strain. This is why those who seem to manifest instantly are not forcing outcomes. They've mastered the art of becoming transparent to the field. Their inner frequency is so clean, so coherent, that reality mirrors them instantly. The science supports this. When the brain shifts into alpha and theta rhythms, when the heart achieves electromagnetic harmony, the field around you expands measurably. You literally broadcast farther. This is not mysticism. It's measurable physics. Boredom, then, is not a glitch in your progress. It's the recalibration period where your biology and energy synchronize into coherence. The tension you feel in that space isn't emptiness. It's the old reality losing access to you. The body interprets this as discomfort because the ego cannot track what's emerging, but the quantum field can. It feels your stabilized signal and begins assembling the probabilities that match it. This is the silent construction phase of every manifestation. So when you feel that ache to move, to do, to fix, pause. You're standing at the threshold where doing less translates into becoming more. The people who appear to leap realities haven't hacked time. They've harmonized with it. They trust that the stillness is the moment before collapse, before the wave becomes the particle, before energy becomes event. You are not waiting. You are tuning. The longer you can remain in boredom consciously, the faster coherence forms. That's the paradox. When you stop trying to escape the nothing, everything starts to find you, chasing departures, fearing they'll miss the right one. But the master creator doesn't chase trains, they stand still. They understand that movement in the quantum doesn't come from running faster, but from aligning deeper. When you stop rushing, when you become vibrationally neutral, the right train, the right timeline, arrives and opens its doors effortlessly. You don't have to leap. You simply step in. That's neutrality. It's the moment your energy stops arguing with what is and starts harmonizing with what's possible. This is the secret behind all effortless shifts. The universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to coherence. When you are neutral, your field broadcasts one clear message. I am available. No resistance. No distortion. Just readiness. And because reality mirrors your frequency, it delivers experiences that match that clean availability. This is why neutrality is more magnetic than excitement. Because excitement often carries attachment, and attachment creates interference. But neutrality carries trust, and trust is pure signal. From a scientific view, this is coherence in motion. Heart math studies show that when your heart rhythm stabilizes, your electromagnetic field expands exponentially. The more neutral your emotional state, the more synchronized your brain and heart become, creating measurable harmony in the field around you. This harmony is what bends probabilities. It's the invisible magnetism behind synchronicities, the unseen rhythm that moves timelines toward you. Boredom, then, is the entry point to neutrality. It's the detox from duality, the purging of emotional polarity that keeps you swinging between wanting and worrying. Each moment you remain still in boredom, your pendulum slows. The chaos of the old reality fades. You begin to stand at the center point, the zero field, and where creation is effortless because resistance doesn't exist. This is what ancient mystics called the void, what modern physics describes as the quantum vacuum, a field of infinite potential waiting for coherent observation. So, when you feel that deep boredom creeping in, don't rush to fill it. Let it strip you of every false urgency. Let it clear your emotional static until only presence remains. Because in that presence, you become the still axis around which new realities rotate. The trains don't need chasing, and they align to you. Neutrality is the magnet. Stillness is the conductor. And boredom is the sacred initiation that leads you there. Become still. When your breath slows, when your mind quiets, the surface clears. And only then do you realize the reflection was there all along. The lake didn't need more motion. It needed calm to reveal what was always present. This is how manifestation truly works. You don't summon reality through force. You uncover it through clarity. Every outcome you seek already exists in the field as potential. Stillness is what tunes your perception to match it. Think of it like tuning a radio. The station isn't created when you turn the dial. It was always broadcasting. But until your frequency aligns, you hear only static. That's what most people experience as struggle. Static between where they are and what they desire. The ego mistakes that static for failure. But it's just misalignment. The moment you stop twisting the dial in panic and hold it still, the sound comes through perfectly. That's coherence. That's alignment. So when the boredom hits, when you feel that unbearable quiet, remember, That's not emptiness. That's you holding still long enough for the next frequency to lock in. It's the invisible threshold where doing transforms into becoming. In that space, the field starts rearranging particles around your new state, effortlessly, naturally, precisely. The people who seem to manifest without trying aren't luckier. They're quieter inside. They've stopped interrupting the process with noise. Let's deepen this. The observer effect doesn't just apply to subatomic particles. It applies to your entire energetic field. Every time you observe your reality with neutrality, not labeling, not judging, simply witnessing, you collapse the wave function in alignment with your truest frequency. Observation from stillness creates stability. Observation from need creates distortion. That's why surrender is not giving up. It's stepping into the most potent creative stance there is. So imagine now that the lake of your life is completely calm. No ripples, no effort, just presence. In that mirror, everything you've been chasing begins to reveal itself to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you finally became clear enough to perceive it. The train, the timeline, the miracle, it was never running away. It was circling you, waiting for you to stop long enough to notice it. The paradox of quantum creation is this: the less you do, the more the universe does. The quieter you become, the louder reality responds. When you stop trying to control the lake, you become the reflection itself. Pure awareness, infinite potential. And from that state, everything you've ever desired naturally moves toward you, not as pursuit but as resonance. Wants to prove it exists through motion, but your power lies in the opposite. By refusing to feed the noise, you reclaim the energy the ego once drained. When you stop identifying with the one who must achieve, control, or understand, you enter the field as pure awareness. In that awareness, you are not a character inside the simulation. You are the signal shaping it. Let the mind twitch, let the thoughts spiral. Observe them like weather passing over a vast sky that remains unchanged. You are that sky. This is the threshold most people never cross because it feels like nothing's happening. But in quantum terms, everything is happening. Your brain waves are dropping into coherence. Your heart's rhythm is syncing with your field. The electromagnetic signal you broadcast is stabilizing. The boredom that once felt unbearable becomes the frequency of creation itself. You are no longer radiating contradiction. You are broadcasting clarity. This is the secret rhythm behind effortless manifestation. Surrender, neutrality, alignment. Now step 4. Allow the stillness to thicken. Breathe as if the silence itself is breathing you. Feel the energy around your body expand. Not through visualization, but through awareness. The field is alive, responsive, intelligent. It doesn't need your instructions. It mirrors your vibration, so let it feel your calm. Let it feel your trust. Let it sense that you have stopped grasping. When you become still enough, the field adjusts its geometry around you, organizing particles to match your new frequency. Step 5. Anchor it. Whisper inwardly, I am a calm observer of my becoming. Let it echo in your chest, not as an affirmation of desire, but as a statement of being. You are no longer chasing timelines. You are embodying the one that was waiting for your coherence. Sit in that for a while. Let the boredom melt into peace, the peace into expansion, the expansion into knowing. This is the quantum ritual of stillness, the practice that turns theory into embodiment. Each time you choose observation over reaction, neutrality over control, stillness over speed, you collapse a new probability into form. You align with the truth that creation is not earned, it's allowed. The void you feared becomes the cradle of your next reality. The silence you resisted becomes your most trusted guide. And when you open your eyes again, nothing may seem different, yet everything is. The field has shifted quietly, irreversibly. You have become readable to the universe, not through noise but through presence, not by effort but by resonance. Welcome to the art of still creation, the power hidden in the silence you once tried to escape. Want stimulation because it fears extinction, but the ritual of boredom is the ego's quiet death. Sit with that. Let the identity dissolve in stillness. Let the panic surface and pass. Observe it as you would a wave, lovingly, without interference. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. And this is where neuroplasticity begins to rewrite itself. As Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, the instant you stop feeding the old emotional circuits, the brain begins to rewire. In stillness, new maps of possibility emerge. You stop rehearsing survival and begin encoding expansion. Step 4. Tune to the field, not the mind. Thoughts will visit, old fears, dressed up hopes, but you're not here to think. You're here to tune. Like a frequency dial, shift your awareness from head to heart, then from heart to body, and finally beyond body, into space, into silence, into the pulse between sensations. Here you're no longer a thinker. You're the awareness the field recognizes. Pattern interrupt. The moment you feel nothing happening is the precise moment the field awakens. Presence doesn't announce itself through sensation. It reveals itself through stillness. Stay. Step 5. Anchor the shift. After 10 or 20 minutes, or however long you can remain awake within the silence, close not with action but recalibration. Whisper, I am now tuned to the stillness where all things begin. Let the vibration of that truth hum through your body. You're not trying to convince yourself. You're becoming the statement. This is the quantum boredom ritual, training your field to respond not to craving but to coherence. You stop commanding timelines and begin magnetizing them through neutrality. Now let's expand into the mechanics. In physicist David Bohm's interpretation of reality, the implicate order is the unseen layer where every potential resides. What we perceive as physical, the explicate order, is only a projection of that deeper field. When you practice stillness, you move closer to the implicate, becoming sensitive to the whisper beneath form. From there, you influence the projection effortlessly. Boredom isn't a glitch, it's a bridge. The moment between effort and embodiment where your new frequency stabilizes. Here's the truth that reframes everything. You're not here to feel better. You're here to become still enough to receive what already exists. In the final chapter, we'll merge everything, the science, the silence, and the self. You'll see that boredom is not emptiness, but pre-creation, the sacred pause before matter reorganizes. We've been taught to fear the quiet, to rush into action the second life feels still. Yet in quantum terms, the nothing you resist is the womb of everything. The field doesn't respond to outcomes, it responds to frequency. And when your frequency steadies into stillness, you begin to merge with creation itself. This is the secret most never discover. Boredom is not a signal to escape. It's a call to listen. It's not absence, it's the presence of potential, the sacred void where your next timeline gestates unseen. That's why breakthroughs, scientific or spiritual, often follow silence, frustration, confusion. The mystics call it the void. Scientists call it incubation. Neville Goddard called it living in the end. The name changes, but the truth remains. Before the new emerges, the old must dissolve. And that dissolution feels like boredom. You are not broken. You are in the pre-creative zone, the zero-point field where all timelines coexist. In quantum experiments, unobserved particles exist as waves, limitless potential. Only observation collapses them into matter. The state before collapse, formless, uncertain, infinite, is the wave state. And that's what boredom is. The ego hates it because it demands certainty, but your higher awareness recognizes it as freedom. The less you define yourself in transition, the faster reality reorganizes. Boredom is sacred erosion, the washing away of old identity so a coherent new signal can emerge. Once it does, your outer world must shift. So the next time you whisper, "Nothing's happening," remember everything is, just not yet visible. Don't ask, "Why hasn't it manifested?" Ask, "Who am I becoming in this stillness?" Don't flee the void, merge with it, because the void isn't empty, it's encoded, and your stillness deciphers it. What does this mean for you? You don't need to visualize harder or affirm louder. You need to become available, to trust the silence building you from within. You need to rest in already done, and if this message stirs something in you, a recognition deeper than words, it's because you're remembering. Your next step isn't more noise, it's stillness with direction. Stillness without guidance stagnates, but stillness with alignment accelerates. That's why I invite you to deepen this journey with Awaken Your Quantum Power, a guide designed not to fill you with knowledge, but to activate your field. It's your manual for the void, teaching you how to move from neutrality to embodiment, from concept to coherence. If this video was the doorway, that path is what follows. You'll find the link below, not because you need it, but because you're ready. This isn't about more doing, it's about more being. You've felt the silence. You've seen between moments. You've learned to collapse timelines through surrender. Now walk forward, not in effort, but in alignment. Remember, stillness is not the absence of creation. It is the frequency of a reality being born.